And I met you in the summer.
Okay, I think it's fair to say that my last video wasn't received terribly well by the algorithm, so we're just gonna stick to BeamNG content from now on. I don't care. So that's why today I'm gonna teach you how to improve your BeamNG graphics in a relatively small amount of time that I don't know how long it's gonna take. Shut up. Now I can hear you going on about how, BeamNG graphics are perfectly acceptable. I don't care. Isn't this gonna affect my performance? Don't I need to download a bunch of shit? No, you don't. Let me explain.
Okay, so here we are in the game, and I think first what will help is if I point out a few of the things that bother me about the way it looks. So first of all, the reflections are extremely dark, and I feel like that is unrealistic, because if you take a look in real life, paint, especially on cars, reflects most of the light that you point at it, and will bounce back a lot of the colours of the environment, and most of the fact that this doesn't happen in the game is due to the brightness. What we're going to do is press F11 to open the world editor, and then go up into this thing here and search for sun sky. Now this will change map to map. Some older maps will have it labelled as scatter sky just due to how the game used to work, but I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Ooh, numbers. Now I'm going to go down here to the brightness bit, but before I change anything I just want to get inside your head for a second. Do you ever look at the games for Horizon 2 or 3 and just look, these games are so old, how the hell do they look so good? Most of that is down to the fact that they have some of the best car lists in the world, and also the brightness. Look how bright this image is. Look at it. Look at the reflections on the car. Look how much of the environment you can see in the car. Look how much of the sky and ground is physically visible on the paint of the car. Now, we're going to take this brightness value and change it to a Forza Horizon 2 or 3 value, which can be anywhere from 1 to 5. I'm going to go to 5 though, because I just think it looks good. Next, we're going to go up to Rayleigh scattering, whatever that means, and change this to 0.001. Now I'm not quite sure what this really does, but it seems to darken the shadows slightly. Then what we can do to counteract that is bring the sky brightness up to 100. Now I know this all seems very strange and arbitrary, but this is just what I do. That you wanted what I do, I'm giving you what I do. Now about the reflection of the ground, we're gonna go down to this setting called ground albedo. I don't know what that means, but I know that it makes the game look better if you click on here and bring this value all the way up to white. Now it doesn't look like that changed much, but I'm just gonna scurry over here to this building. Now if I put this back to black, you can see how the building is very dark, especially in areas not in the light. This makes the game feel very muddy. It doesn't reflect any of the environment. Now what we want is for it to appear to reflect the light of the ground and the sky and everything around it, because when things aren't in direct sunlight, they reflect more of the environment around them. So this is going to have an effect mostly in the shadows. So we're just going to bring this up to white. And as you can see, it looks a lot brighter and fresher now. Now, there's one last thing you can do, and this is optional, and that's with the clouds. Now, if you look over here, the clouds are barely visible. They just kind of look like a splodge of baby vomit on the sky. So what we can do to fix that, and this is optional, but this is just what I have been doing recently. In general, if you're going for that kind of Forza look, it does help. So we're just going to go up into the search bar again and search for clouds, and there might be multiples, so you can just do it to multiple ones. And we're going to go up here, and we're going to click on the exposure and turn that up to 10. And that looks a little bit strange, I admit, but this is just the start of what we're doing. Then we're going to go to coverage. These are just the values that I like to use. Change that to 0.2 and the height to 10 as well. And that just makes them cover a larger portion of the sky without making it look overcast. It just makes the sky look more expansive. Then we're going to go to this little drop down arrow thing, click on that and open all of these. Now you're going to want to turn the text scale on all of them to 1, and that just basically means the clouds look to be a bit more of a natural size compared to everything else. I don't know what I'm talking about. This is just the stuff that works for me. I'm not an expert on why this looks good. I just think it does. And this is kind of where we are left after all that. Now if I put a before and after, you can see that it really has just brought out the way the game looks. But I just want to point out that it looks even better if you change the daytime anywhere from sort of 3 o'clock onwards, because this is kind of the golden hour, as a photographer would call it. I just think it looks better at this time because the brightness isn't as extreme, but it still has an effect on the reflections of the car. And that's basically it. Now, you can do this on all kinds of maps. You can kind of experiment and you can change it about to fit what you like, and you can get some pretty cool effects going if you are willing to delve into it more than I have. But that's basically it.